Erika Ginsberg-Klemmt, Achim Ginsberg-Klemmt, Roland Picone. If you would state your name for the record and that you have signed a card, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Erika Ginsberg-Klemmt. This is my husband, Achim Ginsberg-Klemmt.
Before we start, I want the Commission...
Isn't this resolved in litigation?
We are involved in litigation with the
The litigation's over.
I'm speaking to the Chair. Please, before you respond, check with me to see if it's appropriate to respond. I think it's certainly appropriate to hear from them, but response may not be appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So let's get a stopwatch here.
We got it.
All right. So, good afternoon. We're Achim and Erika Ginsberg-Klemmt of Circus LLC. We're the owners of 3 acres of downtown submerged lands. In August 2013, the DEP granted us a permit for a private mooring field. I quote Mr. Barbetta's evaluation regarding the county administrator, Reed. County government still seems to be stagnant with no sense of urgency in important matters. The approach always seems to be reactive versus proactive. Coming from a position of no should not be the first option, especially in public service. We wholeheartedly agree. In 1997, the city of Sarasota reported 254 major storm sewer outfalls to the EPA as part of the MS4 storm sewer permit. The 2008 inventory for the city of Sarasota reported only 91 total storm sewer outfalls. Who removed at least 163 major outfalls from the MS4 inventory between 97 and 2008, and why? During the discovery process for our DOA petition, county managers Mr. Ryan and Mr. Janneman were unable to identify the number of major outfalls located in Sarasota as required by federal regulations. Since at least 2008, an incomplete storm outfall inventory has been reported to the EPA. Exhibit 5 shows that some MS4 water quality monitoring stations were strategically placed to avoid effective monitoring of the stormwater discharges from an industrial zoned area around Myrtle Street. A recent inspection performed by county staff showed that at least one unreported major outfall draining industrially zoned lands. We believe this unreported outfall is possibly one of the major outfalls that vanished from the inventory between 97 and 2008. After taking office in 2012, Mr. Reed reassigned the oversight of the MS4 permitting from the Deputy County Administrator to himself and signed the yearly application forms as the responsible entity. During our recent discovery process, we found that Mr. Reed revised detailed technical languages for environmental permit requirements in January 2013, and he removed the FDEP's request for individual sentiment sampling for major outfalls every 5 years. A few days ago, Mr. Reed signed an affidavit under oath declaring that he has no technical knowledge or expertise regarding the application. Why did Mr. Reed assign the responsibilities for the MS4 permitting to himself if he has no knowledge about what he's doing? In their latest self-congratulatory evaluation memorandum, the county attorney's office misled and misrepresented important facts, including that the matter is on appeal, which is untrue. They also said that we insisted that their permit would harm water quality. The origin of the dispute was that the county failed to perform a title search before they filed the permit application. Had they done so, they would have seen that the western section of the US-41 Outfall Canal has been in private ownership since 1947. They would have been obligated to notify the affected property owners in accordance with Florida statutes, and costly litigation might have been avoided. Next, we never claimed that the dredging project would harm water quality, but this project does not aim to improve water quality. We discovered high levels of fecal coliform bacteria, possibly caused by illicit connections to the sanitary sewer system, and disgusting amounts of floatable debris entering Sarasota Bay.
Another misleading legend was our presumed opposition to the dredging activity. As the main beneficiaries of the canal dredging, we would be happy about the deepening of the channel, and we have never been opposed to the dredging activity itself. For the US-41 Outfall Canal Drainage Improvement Project, AECOM failed to investigate the true cause of the roadway flooding on Tamiami Trail. Tamiami Trail does not flood due to the minor rainwater drainage problems inside the canal. It floods with Sarasota Bay water during high spring tide, with the bay waters entering through the canal from the harbor basin. The dates and times of the roadway flooding are easily predictable with a tide calendar at a glance at the weather forecast. Southwesterly winds raise the water level and amplify the street flooding effect superimposed onto the tide. Incidentally, Sarasota County's administration chose for this project the same engineering firm that created the microtunneling disaster at Hudson Bayou, causing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit between the city of Sarasota and AECOM, because this engineering firm did not perform an adequate geological soil survey for the sediments below the bayou. The attorneys representing Sarasota County also advocated against improved public bay access at the US-41 Outfall Canal. They emphatically rejected our proposal to modify the project to accommodate for a public kayak and paddleboard launching facility. The same attorneys also advocated against a floatable debris removal mechanism, which is required for private entities seeking similar construction permits. Why would public representatives advocate against improved public access to Sarasota Bay, or against thorough investigation of illicit sewer discharges, or a floatable debris removal mechanism? Sarasota County depends on the tourism industry, and the tourism industry depends on clean water. Our county attorneys do a tremendous job on finding legal loopholes. After over 6 months being accepted as a timely petition by the FDEP, Sarasota County attorneys were successful last week on having our petition regarding the MS4 permit dismissed because it was apparently filed 48 hours too late. The merits of our case remain, and the unsatisfactory outcome will affect Sarasota citizens for years to come. This is not a favorable litigation result for the environment or the citizens of Sarasota. This is a favorable litigation result for a wasteful and apathetic county administration with irresponsible inventory reporting practices and lethargic and ineffective pollution response procedures. We feel an evaluation for both the Sarasota County administration and their attorneys can only be below average, because the latter have only helped to cover up the dysfunctional and embarrassing performance of the former, instead of truly representing the vital interests of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.